I will make a quick case for my final pick of the week. It is Bills minus 14.5 at the Jaguars. KC, we have seen the Bills play 4 games against teams that are nowhere near the playoff discussion. They've already played their 2 divisional matchups with the Dolphins. They've played the Washington football team. They have played the Houston Texans. Those games, KC, have gone as follows: 35-0 over the Dolphins, 43-21 over the football team, 40-0 over the Texans, and then 26-11 over the Dolphins. Maybe a little bit of a lucky cover against the Dolphins last week, but still, the point remains that they have faced these 4 teams, nowhere near the playoff discussion, just like where the Jaguars find themselves. Bad teams, bottom third teams, and that's even maybe being a little bit generous to include Washington in this group. We're really talking probably bottom 6 or 7 teams in the NFL, and these teams have come nowhere near putting anything together against this Bills team on offense or on defense. And this Bills team has shown us that they are going to snuff these teams out, and they're not even going to leave that back door open for a potential, game that they control, but ultimately only win by 14 or 13 points. That's not happening against this Bills team. We haven't seen it against any teams of this very low caliber like the Jaguars. Why would we suddenly expect to see it this week? I think the Bills win this one by 3 touchdowns.
Bill James used to say that you could tell a great team. In fact, he'd do some statistical studies about great teams, and he found that great teams usually don't win close games. We were like, oh, well, they don't win close games, and they would misunderstand why. James would point out great teams don't lose close games because they don't get into close games.
Mm-hmm.
When they play bad teams, they destroy them, and that's what's going to happen here. They don't do the Bills don't do what I've called over the years Tomlining, which is and Mike Tomlin. Hey, we're Steelers fans in this house, and my kid's a big Steelers fan. But Mike Tomlin's teams will tend to play down to the level of their competition. That would be the only concern I have about Monday night. But they're so desperate right now. I think that they'll still fight through that. But that would be what they would do, and especially when they were riding high, if they would come against a bad opponent and play down to their talent level. And the Bills just aren't doing that. And that's 2 signs of a great team, that you don't play down to your competition level. And again, you don't win close games because you don't get into them. So I do like the idea of them being able to do this, because they'll put their foot on the gas. And if they get ahead, if they're up 23-0, they're going to make it 30-0. They're not going to slow down on either side of the ball. So plus, I love how the Bills defense is playing. Their offense was great last year, and I thought their defense was good, very good, but not what it is this year. This year, this is a defense that can clamp you down and knock you out.
The nature of the Bills' offense is the last thing I wanted to add here. They are not a team that has a great offense, but when it gets up, leans on its run game. They're not a team that's going to get up 24-0 in this game and be like, all right, we've got it. Let's give Zach Moss 15 carries in the second half. That's not what they do. That's not how they're built to play. Like, doesn't really matter what sort of game they're in. Even if they get into that sort of game, maybe they dial it back. Maybe we don't see Josh Allen taking these huge deep shots, but he's still going to be out there slinging it around. That's sort of what they have to do. That's what the personnel dictates. They don't have the personnel on offense to suddenly be a grind out the second half team. That's just not who the Bills are. It's not who they are in their heads, and it's not what they're built to be. They can't suddenly turn that on, even if they find themselves up 24-0 or 31-0 in this game. So I really feel no concern about that whatsoever. Bills cruise in this one against the Jaguars.